awaited birth plan video. To have a birth plan or not to have a birth plan, that is the question. So let me just preface this by saying that with my first baby, I had a birth plan. I probably was every labor and delivery nurse's like worst nightmare patient. I refused everything except antibiotics because I was ruptured for so long. I had a pretty traumatic birth memory with my first baby because things did not go according to my plan. And that took me 4 years to get over until we had our second kid. And I did not have a birth plan with my second kid. And I have a much more positive birth memory. There were also lots of like outside circumstances that affected my first birth experience. But all that to say, I have some opinions about birth plans. So the first one is that I think if you have the ability to speak, that you do not need to have a typed up 3-page birth plan. The labor and delivery nurses should be asking you how you plan to manage your pain. The first thing that you would have on your birth plan is, I want an epidural, or I don't want an epidural, I want to go unmedicated, or don't talk to me about pain medication, or do not offer me any pain medication options. I see that one a lot. So when the nurse asks you that, just say, I want to go unmedicated, and I would prefer that you don't come in here and offer me pain medication because I'm trying to do this on my own, or whatever. In a kind way, we totally understand. I am all for the all natural, unmedicated birth experience. I love it. But I just don't think that it needs to be typed up on a page, on a paper. Secondly, for labor and delivery nurses, when we have this horrible stigma, I'm sorry, but when someone comes in with their birth plan, we kind of immediately think in our minds like, oh, it's probably not gonna go the way that she's wanting it to go. And that's not necessarily because we expect the worst, but it's just kind of in our experience, that's what we've seen. Like, someone comes in with this long birth plan, they don't want this, they don't want that, and they end up with all the interventions, possibly a C-section, and then their birth memory, like the experience and the memory of their birth, is traumatic because it was totally opposite of what they expected or wanted. So this is kind of my pitch for like setting yourself up for a healthy postpartum experience is having a healthy expectation of what your birth experience will be. And it's not to say like everybody's gonna get a C-section, no way. Like, I am all for those vaginal deliveries, but to be open to the fact that anything could change at any moment. Your baby and your health are our top priority. And personally, another priority of mine is that my patients have a healthy memory and experience of their birth so that they're not traumatized and never want to have babies again. Like, I want you to have as many babies as you want. So I would say have an idea of what you want your birth to look like, but then remember that you need to be flexible. And if your doctor comes in or the nurse comes in and says, hey, like your baby's not looking so good on the monitor, or your blood pressure is really high, we have to change some things, or you've developed preeclampsia, some things are gonna need to change. And if you're prepared for that and ready for that, I think your birth experience will go much better than being so rigid and like closed-minded and attached to your birth plan. So that's kind of my 2 cents on those things. I hope I didn't rub anybody the wrong way. Just in my experience as a labor and delivery nurse, I find that the people who come in and say like, yeah, whatever happens, happens, like they're the ones who have a great delivery. Their head is in the right place. Like they're not disappointed at every turn that comes in their birth story, in their labor. For example, I had a patient the other day and she said that with her first baby, she had a 3-page birth plan and everything was on it. And with her second baby, she had 3 things and it wasn't even typed up. It was just in her mind of what she wanted her birth plan to be. So that's kind of what I think. And of course, take it with a grain of salt if you don't like it. So thanks for watching.